let's see. Shall we break down movement or Marin? Is there any movement you want broken down, or Faith or Janet? Nothing. Okay. Right. So let me just go over that first part that I'm talking about. Right. It's everything. It's this idea that when you think of everything has to have purpose. So start looking at the very first thing you do. So I may have done this last week, but we'll review it again. So we think of the warm up, right? Gathering the chi, bringing it in the body. But even before that, you can have a stance where the ankles are touching, right? And if you want on the bottom, the knees can gently touch. So the ankles, right, there's kidney points over here. So the ankles touching, we're stimulating the kidneys and we're still stimulating that flow of energy. And if just the inside of the knees touch as we come up, it helps to pull that energy up, the kundalini up. As you come up, it's hard to keep the knees together, right? When you're squatted, they can just touch. And as you rise, they'll just naturally separate. There'll be a space in here. But the ankles are touching. So from the beginning, which you're trying to stimulate organ flows, and you're addressing the acupuncture points and all of this. You're building in the medical Qigong into what you're doing. Okay? So when you look at it, just the form, you're setting up the form to stimulate energy to flow through the body. Okay? The bottom of the feet have to be totally relaxed, right? So it can connect and sync, and the chi can flow in and out. The top of the head, you think of it open so it can connect to the universal chi above in the sky, right? And our eyes scan to collect chi from all around us. So basically chi from everywhere, right? As we flow chi down, we're displacing the earth chi, so it rises around us, and then we gather it in with the chi from above through our bodies. So that big magnetic field, you can imagine that coming, right? So if you're stiff, your legs are stiff, your feet are stiff, you're cutting yourself off from earth, right? If you have too much tension, you're cutting yourself off from up there, right? If you're not staring out, you're not necessarily getting as much chi from around you. So you're learning to pull chi in from all over, from up there, from out, from the earth, right? Anything that has matter has energy, right? So you can translate that into chi. And we want to flow that through every meridian, through the bones, through all the cells, the blood vessels, all the nervous tissue. We want to clear out the central channel. You can just think of that with the spine for now, right? So, and we want to open and stretch and let everything fall back into place. So there's so much just that we're examining. But that first lesson is you have to breathe in and then let it go, right? So first lesson is let it go, right? Empty out everything, and then you can absorb everything, right? And you can still filter out and decide what you want and what you don't want. But if you don't have capacity, it doesn't matter what you bring in, right? That's the story of the student coming up and asking the teacher to teach him, and the master's pouring the tea until the cup overflows, and he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "How can you learn until you empty out your cup?" Right? So that's the lesson, right? So breathing in is the ha. So we want the diaphragm, right? We don't want to use our throat and our chest up here. We want to sink everything down. So as we breathe in, right, already we're letting go, relaxing, and we're expanding with the breath. So use the yawn, right? The kind of H-U-H sound, and letting go so that it can expand, right? And then we start gathering as we continue breathing in, reaching up, and want to release the joints so it can stretch. And if you release the joints and if there's tension, you can feel that tension and you can gently stretch, right, to help it release, and my heels will come up. So expanding, thinking way up in the sky, and ha, letting go of the shoulder blades, letting the elbows fall into place, and gently guiding with the palms, that light resistance And you decide when you're going to start rising. So right at that point, there's a little flex of the legs and the body fills up. And you're holding that, and then you coordinate the rise. And the hands fall right on the side from here. So again, when you start rising, it's that feeling right, that you're using something to help support yourself. You can use the chair, easier to see. Okay, like if I'm getting up and it's hard, right? We tend to brace our hands on our legs, but that's pushing down on ourselves. So if we have something close to us, right, as much to the center, then we can rest. Right? We can rest our arm and we can push off this, and that helps us to rise. So it's that feeling. The palms are gently guiding down that bubble. Everything's letting go. We release. And at some point, that feeling like, oh, I'm ready to stand. So the palms supports, right? And the body, right? The muscles gently flex. You can feel the leg muscles flex and you relax and everything gets full. So every part of the body is now connected, that you're filling up, expanding that balloon. And right at that point, it equalizes, right? The palm doesn't fall. Right at that point, you're just supporting, right? And then the palm falls again. But right at that point, you want to feel and listen to how the whole body fills up, right? And we've talked about that when we come forward and the whole body fills up. That same feeling, start to recognize that feeling. So just looking at that first gathering of chi, oh, there's so much in there, right? So ankles together. When I come down, the inside of the knee touches, right? And I try to tuck and roll the pelvic forward so the tailbone is tucked underneath, right? And I listen to where my weight is, right? I might have to rock back and forth to try and center and relax as much as possible, right? Tuck this in. Pull the head up from above gently, right? So the chin gets tucked in. I'm trying to get my head straightened out instead of falling forward. Okay? And breathe in with the ha sound, the H-U-H, and let go. Ha. Right, everything releases and then start expanding. My elbows are down. My knees release, but my ankles are still together. And then I can feel my hips stretching and opening. My knees, my ankles and heel come up a little and then start to release. Ha. Use the HA sound. The shoulders, elbows, everything drops down, gently guiding that bubble down. And at some point I decide, oh, right there, I'm going to start rising. And I still want the palms, the ending of the palms to coordinate. And if it's only one cycle, the hands fall. I breathe in, push the knees back to stretch the back of the knees, and ha. Right? And I can ha if I want. Right? If I'm going to continue, if I'm going to say do 3, right? I'm coming down, ha. Let everything go, and then just flow right into the next one. Throat is open. Feel the diaphragm, right? And the lower belly expanding. Let everything go, right? And you can see me turning my palms, right? Sinking, trying to center myself perfectly, and at some point decide, oh, I'm going to start rising, that full feeling. Everything falls into place. Breathe in and rise a little bit more, pushing the knees back to stretch the back legs, and then continuing again, ha. And after the third time, I'm going to end the movement. So I still expand. Right, center. Decide when to rise. Breathe in, press the knees back. And come back and ha. And just drop. Okay, and then that's my beginning. That's my beginning form. So that ha. Okay. So the one thing I've added in is the gently pressing the knees back, right, so that the back of the leg can stretch. I really think this is a neglected stretch. And especially as we get older, it's a neglected stretch. Right? So part of the fall prevention is to prevent all our muscle tissues and the joints from tightening up, which means, right, that all those little stretches that we do are important daily and throughout the day. Okay, so from the side, right, one last time, right, coming down, right, so breathing in, coming down, the ankles, the inside of the knee touches, releasing and then gathering, right? Being pulled and stretched externally, the heels come up, everything drops down, guiding the chi down through the body, beginning to rise when you're ready. Breathe in. Second time, ha. Right? First lesson, let everything go. Stretch the knees back gently through the top of the head. One more time, rise a little bit, pressing the knees back. Ha. Last time. Breathe in, rising, gently stretch knees back. Sit down and ha. Let go. Okay, then we begin. Okay, then to open, the forms are either stepping, and everyone I see is your left foot, right? They tend to sink on your right foot and step with your left foot. So I'm mirroring what you would do. The Sun style, right? We need to get into this position, right? 45, and we need to drop. Okay, so let's look at how the Yang style, the Chen might do it, where you're going to shift to your right and step with the left, right? And then that's the starting position. We'll look at that first. Okay, so the next lesson, right, is to walk, right? To walk, that means just moving one leg at a time. So to free up the leg, you shift to your right, right? We have to shift our weight, of course, but then we also have to fold, right? So we have to fold the hips so the butt's going to stick out. And if we do that, right, that will zero this leg so that it can be neutrally buoyant, right? So we have to shift our center and fold, right? So even standing together, right, we shift our center and we fold. It's neutrally buoyant. If we pick up the leg without turning, right, you can feel like you're fighting the ground. The muscles really have to hold. What we want to do is we want to not just neutrally buoyant the leg, but we want the leg to start lifting, right? And want it to lift as easy as possible. We want the standing leg and the rest of the body to be as relaxed as possible. So the next lesson is you have to fold and then let it turn, right? So if I'm this way, right, I have to shift my weight forward, but I have to sink and let this turn. So my body follows 45. Eventually, as I refine, my upper body doesn't have to turn as much, but for now, just let it go, right? Just let it turn. And as I shift to my right and let it turn, if you watch my heel, let's see, can you see the heel? You watch my left heel, right? And I fold, it's still down, but as I let it turn, the left heel starts to rise. Right? So letting it turn and sink into here not only releases that leg, but the heel comes up and it starts that action, right? That starting action where you can pick up the leg. Okay? The standing leg, right, goes from using all the muscles here. When you let it turn, you can feel outside muscles relax and actually get harder in a way. So the inside muscles get harder and you can feel that concentrated focused strength of the muscles. and the bottom of the foot starts to let go. So when you first fold, you can feel, oh, that tension, right? That muscle, we need more strength. But as you let it go and fold and sink into here, the bottom of the foot can let go. This lets go. Right? The heel starts to pick up, right? And then you can open. And if you keep focus here, right? You know you have to step, but this is primary, right? Keep this focused and just take a small step, right? Don't reach, right? Don't be timid. Just take a comfortable step, and you find that it's a perfect step. So the lesson is, hey, this is number one too, right? Train this, let it fold, and then everything else seems to just kind of fall into place, right? How much to step forward, wherever it is, that distance, that natural distance, that comfortable distance just falls into place. The body will turn 45, your steps will be naturally 45, and so on and so on. Okay? So then the next lesson is you have to develop the qua, right? So from feet together, right, fold, right, shift to your right, let it turn, feel the heel release, right? The hands are just at the side, right? And then you can pick up and just a small step. So we're not even activating the palms, right? And we're just focusing on here and take a relaxed step and then shift center, right? And then rise again, push the knees back, breathe in, and now, you just let go. So in the beginning might be larger, but eventually you want to get to that, right? So it's not much, right? It's just, and now that's your beginning form. So if Yang Tai Chi, same thing, hands come up and down. Then I go a little bit, eventually I can get lower. So there's so much just to get to that starting point. There's all these little lessons. So if you can master sinking and letting it fold, right? That's in every form, every step. You're training and developing the legs, so the strength, it's going to allow you to move. You have to move slowly to study, and all of that is going to start developing these leg muscles, right? Properly. Okay, so that we can make an exercise out of that. But let's look at the Sun style first. So Sun style, same thing, right? We get from feet together, and we have to get to here. So building into the form, getting into the opening. So same idea, right? We still have to shift, right? We still have to sink, and we still have to let it turn. Practice letting it turn. You're gonna feel the leg release, but because we want to swivel, the intent is the toe's gonna come up, right? So as you release, you start picking up the toe. Right? My body is 45 here, but your left foot can now swivel 45. To go past 45, you're really forcing that, right? But to go to 45, it just naturally turns. Then we have to shift to your left, and then we have to let it fold into the left. Right? Now your right foot is free. Now your right foot can swivel 45. Then we're going to come back, and we're too low at this point. So we rise, gently let it straighten up, right? Don't force it. Right? Because it's turned 45, you don't want to really force it too much. Just enough gentle stretch, breathing in, and then, right? And that's the perfect height. So practicing that, everything sinks, shoulders sink, everything's relaxed. Feel that thud on the ground. Okay? So I'll do it facing 45, right? So we're from here, right? We gather. We're doing the last one. Starting to rise when you're ready. One more breath in, stretching the knees back, and then shifting to your right, letting the body fold, letting the joint fold so the left foot can open. Then coming back to center, shifting to your left, letting it fold, then the right foot can open, and then coming back to center, and then rising, breathing in, gentle stretch, and Okay, and then that's a perfect height. And that's going to change and refine as you do it. Okay, and then as you pick up the hands, right? So, right, we've done so much stuff already. Right, trying to open up the body, looking at alignment, looking at perfect, just letting go, unlocking, how to unlock, and that perfect height and how to shift. And then we have to connect the palms. Right? So in the warm-up we talked about this. Right? If you don't use the hands and you pick up the leg, it's very physical. Right? Even if you're thinking straightening, getting all your alignment, picking up the leg, right? Using the hip, you're thinking the knee going straight up, it's still more physical than using the hand, imagining, right, turning. Okay, of course we have to shift and turn, let this fold. So if we let it fold, bodies turn to really release the leg and it can start to rise, but then adding the hand to pick up the leg, right? And everything, right? If I leave the elbow out, not as effective, but if I tuck it in and it's all lined up, more effective. So just the palm, the feeling of just activating the palm, connecting with the leg, right? So starting to look at connecting the hand to help pick up the whole leg. If you want that much more physical resistance, right, keep the hands here and don't make a tight fist, but just close, right? And you'll feel all your movements, even though you're doing all of this, will be a little bit more physical every time you have to pick up the leg, right? Every time you have to pick up the leg, it'll be a little bit more physical if the hands are tied up here. Yeah. If you open the hands, then the palms can stretch, and the intent, you can still feel the palms helping to pick up the leg, but if you release the arms, right, and then you can pick up the leg and turn. You have to have this turn, and then the hands can help pick up and set down, hold things in place. Right? So the next lesson is, and these things are arbitrary when they say the next lesson, but it's connecting the palm, just the surface of the palm. So you have to stretch and expand there. Now, to keep the hands tucked in, right, we build in the idea of, or not the idea, but we build in where the arms are going to rub against the rib cage. Right? Right? We want to stimulate and calm down the kidneys, the stomach, and so on and so on. So if you're building in this kind of movement where the arms are rubbing in against the body, that naturally will help to tuck the elbow in and keep everything centered. And it'll help you to develop that habit instead of the arm floating out and the leverage wrong, right? It'll just build it in with a nice purpose, a really nice purpose. So your left side kidney, gallbladder, your right side stomach and spleen. Right? Over here, this is it. This is our intestines, right? Intestines, your guts. We like to say stomach, but the organ stomach is more. Your organ stomach is more on your left side. Yeah, from here. This is really your large, small intestines, right? Kidneys in the back, right? So we can use our hands from here when we do teacups and such. We can massage the kidneys, but it's not so much in the form unless we're doing something like this. So stimulating the kidneys, right, ankles together, those kinds of things. And if you want more, you just go on Google, look for acupuncture charts, and say, oh, where's the liver points? Where's the stomach? Where's the heart? Where's the spleen? Right? And then read about, because you're going to see multiple points, so you have to read and say, well, which spleen point or which liver point do I want to stimulate, right, or address? And then they'll talk about why you want to do that point versus another point, right? What issue you're trying to do. Okay? So you can see so much going on, just health, right? Just balance, flow of blood, flow of energy, right? All into here, but you can see the strength building coming in from there. Okay. All right. So this is just to get to that unlocking the beginning. So study the gathering and opening, and that's a lot. And then when you go back and look at the YouTube and you look at these masters and these people are teaching, then you understand why their beginning looks so strict in form, right, compared to everybody else. And the hands are right here, right? They're not floating, right? And then you can just see them moving carefully. Right? And settle. You might not see all of this going on that I'm showing you and I'm putting in, right? But then you understand that's why they move so carefully and such, right? But to get to looking like this has to release. If they're not releasing, if they don't feel the joining here, releasing and sitting, right, then it's going to be like struggling to do this. So the refinement, right, once you understand and start to release into here, right, then the upper body doesn't have to turn so much. But you still realize there's a twist, and we want those twists, right? You don't have to just twist one direction from the toe up to the fingertip or the head, right? It could be, it's spiraling. So it could be twisting and twisting and twisting and twisting. It's like a river, right? River just doesn't go here, right? It goes here and here and here and here, and it undulates. And the energy is same thing. So if you feel your body wanting to move and sway, right? If you're calm, right, that energy can move and you let it move your body. So if you feel your body being pulled forward, that's fine. Right, it'll settle back. Right, if you feel your body start to move, especially from the center, especially when you're just breathing, you might feel the center just vibrate. That's nice. Right, these are nice phenomena that will eventually come out. Okay, so just what time is it? Okay, so just a review. So just from the beginning, everything has a purpose. Everything should have a purpose. Right? So feet together, right? Gently touching the ankles, and as you come down, gently touching the inside of the knees. Use the yawn, the ha. Come up, let the knees naturally separate. Drop the shoulders and elbow. Oh, and connect the sun above through the sun in your chest. Flowing through the body, letting everything go. And decide when you're going to start rising. It doesn't have to be the same place every time. Breathe in and stretch, come up a little, and ha. You can imagine gently grabbing the sun and flowing that energy down through the top of your head to the sun in your chest. The movements begin and end together, but in between there can be variation. Breathe in, ha. Third time. Breathe in, ha. And then let everything go, ha. Okay. So Sun style. You're going to shift to your right, sink, let it fold into the hip so the left foot can swivel out 45. Shift to the left, let it turn till you feel the right foot release and the right foot can go 45. Recenter. Come up, breathe in gently, use the yawn, the ha. And ha. Okay. And we just do the first 6 moves of the set. Okay, so let everything sink heavy, heavy, heavy. Connect the sun in the sky through the top of your head. Feel the legs heavy. Relax the bottom of the feet. Tuck the tailbone, roll the hip forward. Pull from the top of the head so the spine expands up. Relax the shoulders and elbows, but expand the palms and fingers. Feel like cables pulling on the fingertips outward. Take it one breath in and out. And then commencement. Picking up, commencement, picking up the ball of chi. Sink and start shifting to your right. Let it turn, let it fold into the hip joint so the left heel picks up. Using the palm to help pick up the leg. All the weight stays on the right, so the left foot up, and then start shifting down. Let the left fold, let the body turn, even though it's a big turn for now. Rub the wrist against the rib cage. Out, and then sink. Everything release, even in there. And then that's the height for your set. Shift to your left, right? You have to want to release the right, so you have to let the left fold. Right? So beginning, big movement. It's okay to have this big turn to study this. And the right can release and tap, and now you can turn to the right. Later on, there'll be a smaller movement. Step, shift, and press, sternum up. And as you sink into the right, everything releases, and then you can turn to the front. And shift back to the left, let it turn. Let it sink into the left hip. Use the right palm to pick up the right leg. Use the left hand to stabilize the left leg. Tap in and then step. Right? Shifting, let it fold, let it turn into the right hip. Feel the palms helping the leg stabilize and pick up. And then shift. Second time. Shoulders down, elbows down, palms are nicely expanded, fingertips nicely stretched. Sink into the right hip. And one more time. Eyes can be following the fingertips. Come back to the left and then come back to center. One open and close. Then we do the left side. We're close with the left side, so we have to shift to the right. Right? You have to let the right hip fold, so let the body turn to the right, so that you can feel and study how the left heel can release. Right? As it picks up, then you can rotate. And then you can step, small step, and press. And then you can release the spine. And then shift back to the right. Fold, let it turn into the right. Let the palm help to pick up the left leg. And then set it down. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Kind of a reset right here. Yeah. So step. That should have been a step. Yeah. Sink. See right here, let it fold. Sink into the left hip. Just relax into the left hip, and then you can shift into the right. Relax, let it turn and fold, sink into the right hip, then you can step. Remember to keep the palms stretched and fingers extended. The more you let the joint fold, the easier it is to pick up the other leg. The more relax the body. Okay, this will be the third one. So turn back to the right, let the hands come back. Center, sink, open and close. And then we'll just end right here. Drop the shoulders. Use the shoulder blades to press out. No rising yet. Release the wrist. Let it fall. And then decide to rise. Feel the palms. Let the arms straight on the side of the body, resting. Breathe in. Stretch the knees back a little. Sink into the right. Let it fold. So you can bring the left foot in. Just thinking of the palms to help the left foot back in. Right? Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. You decide when to rise. Breathe in, last stretch of the knees. Just let everything go. And then slowly pick up. Okay? So this will be a nice lesson, right? Doesn't get it really focusing on just a few things and nice practice. I was going to say earlier, we've done this other drill before, but if you just want to practice, right, folding, letting it turn so it releases, right? So first when you fold and shift, right, all that energy releases 100% here, but when you let it turn, that heel comes up. You can feel how it pulls, right? So you could just practice walking and shifting and side to side and such, just listening to that. Yeah? And commit yourself to here, right? If I'm tense, but if I relax, right, then everything lets go. And just living in that nice relaxed feeling, right? This foot can only go so far, right? You can feel how it just unfolds. If I want to step further, I can feel how I have to get away from here, right? But if I just let this sit, right, and I don't allow this nice relaxed feeling to change, then this foot can only move so much. When I go out of that range, right, and I start pulling this, it wants to open this up, right? It's not relaxed anymore. But if I just let it sit, right, then this can only move so much. And that's the correct stance. You want to go longer, you have to go lower. Then the leg can extend lower, right? But the other thing I want to point out is that, right, people say, I cannot go low like this. Watch over here, right? I come down a certain height. When I fold, it's over here folding, right? This doesn't go much lower. So when you study it, right, you can really fold and let the hip, right, let this pelvic joint fold, but you don't have to bend here, right, to go lower, right? You don't have to be down there. So I can be high, right? Just unlock. As long as I let it fold and let it rest in here, this leg will free up. Okay? So it's here, it's folding here, listening to this. This fold can be large for higher or can be really fold for lower. But it's this fold, it's the pelvic fold that you have to let go. So there's a minimum where you just sink, yeah, and let go. And all of that by nature of doing it will keep the knee back, right? And it'll release that tension of pushing into the knee. Right? If you don't turn, you let it fold, right? You can try. The more you push your butt back, right, the muscle is still expanding. As you center, you can feel the muscle expanding towards the knee, right? If the foot is centered, that means there's energy, there's force going into the knee. If it goes past the toe, right, this is relative, right? If it goes past the toe, then more pressure. But if we could take off any pressure, right? If we could zero out the pressure going into the knee, that's the best, right? So to do that, you have to let this turn. If you let it turn, you can feel the muscle relax, and it doesn't sound like it makes sense, but as the muscle relaxes, it will tense properly. Right? If I just fold without turning, you can feel all the muscles tensing. And to pick up the leg, you can feel all the muscles, right, getting really tense and flexing. But if I let it turn, I relax, and you can feel just certain muscles getting really strong. Yeah. So that's what you need to listen to. Okay, pick up the leg up and down. Loosen up. Hey, there's somebody behind me. Oh, I can see you in the video. She kind of blends in, right? She's wearing black right at the end of the couch. Okay. And she stole my chair. That's okay. All right, so yeah, even in the chair, expand. Let go and just settle into a nice little posture so you can meditate. And again, we meditate to clear your mind, to release things that don't need to be in there, that have actually been addressed before, but we forgot to let them go. So any distractions, acknowledge them. You have to acknowledge them and then bring yourself back to your meditation. And then when you clear your mind enough, then you can focus and give attention to that one thing that's really pressing. Right? Can be serious, can be light, but it's that one thing that you really want to take care of. Connect that sun in the sky through the top of the head, through that sun in your chest, warm and cool, putting out energy to your whole body. Relax all your facial muscles from the forehead, from around the eyes, the nose, the bridge of the nose, the cheeks, through the jaws. Just let it physically fall. Open the throat and smile from the heart area while you're doing this. Okay, slowly open your eyes, rub your hands together. Yeah, Susie gave us a nice reminder, about the frequency. There are frequencies that do different things. So there's one frequency that really helps the body, the health, to help keep things under control. And just go on YouTube. Go on YouTube. Look at what is it called? Meditative Mind. There's a whole bunch of channels that give all kinds of frequencies. Some are just bells, some are mantras, and yeah, you can find, you can search the web. What frequency for health? What frequency for the chakras? What frequency for emotional? What frequency to gather? Like if you're business, right? You have to attract business. You have to attract money. To attract money is to attract people, right? So what frequency does that? And you can just play these things in the background. Yeah. The Om, right? And they go Om. That's the frequency of Earth. You're trying to vibrate as the same frequency of Earth, so that you're trying to be in harmony with Earth, right? Imagine being in harmony with something as huge as Earth. Yeah. Yeah, warm up your eyes, brush your scalp. Yeah, tap your scalp. Front to back, center to outside, at least 3 times, and then the back of your neck. Right on the side of the spine, for your neck, right? And then drop your elbows and arms and pull that muscle tissue away from the spine. And move your head gently back and forth. Just drop your shoulders, drop your arms. And all that weight will transfer to your fingertips. Yeah, unroll your ears on the top. Just working your way down. And you can teach your grandchildren this, right? Monkey ears. Turn it into a game. That's what a lot of the Taichi for kids, Taichi Qigong. There's something called watermelon Taichi. I said, oh, what is that? And it's a simple. It makes it fun, yeah, to do certain kind of movements. Basically, Qigong kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, then shoulders outside, top, inside, and bottom. In general, 3 times. The shoulders out through the fingertips. Loose wrists when you do this. Loose slapping. And waking up the body, or just opening up blockage, right? Or just some general conditioning, yeah, so your body gets used to the contact. Your kidneys. You can do the rib cage too, but kidneys. Yeah, and as I showed in the first one, right, if you want, you can stand and do this. Stand or seated. Okay, and then if you want, you can end standing or seated, right, under the collarbone, just coming under the collarbone, coming down to the kidneys, the back of the legs, and the fingertips trace on the outside of the feet, and then they come inside. And if you cannot reach all the way down, you still imagine that the palms and the fingertips are reaching there. You can see this is just helping to open and remove blockage and flow the chi through the whole body and through all the meridians, or a lot of the meridians. But yeah, and at least 3 times. And just rest on the kidneys, right? And breathe in and just let everything go. Okay, that's a lot. Right hand, left hand. Yeah, your right hand, your left hand. Even when you do this, yeah, don't make these hard turns and don't lift the shoulders out, right? And let everything fall into place and just sink and just relax. Expand the palm, gently expand, loose fist. Okay? So when you study the energetic, right, open palm can help the leg, right? The closed palm, right, not so much, way more relaxed, right? So when that fist is closed, right, there's some of that, right, where you just relaxed, right? You're not trying to do all these things. It's just relaxed. This hand is still stretching, fingertips still stretching and connected, so it can help to pull that energy, right, if this is relaxed. But just relaxed. Covered fist, right? Fist is like so covered fist is kind of self-explanatory, right, for greetings, right? And then loose, not fighting, just loose. It's for health, right? Just very loose so energy can flow and such. And right here, right, not high, just right here. You can see how it just cradles the whole heart area when you do it right here, right? That nice big bubble from there. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.